Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Alex Williamson, and wait, which way are my fingers gonna go? Bob STEENFOTT. Bob STEENFOTT and his plants, ladies and gentlemen.
Yay!
So I am having some technical difficulties. I have a new laptop thanks to Brian, but the plugin for the webcam does not work right now. So we're going with the camera on my phone, the audio from the computer, and maybe we'll be able to pull up the game I wanted to play. But because of the dumb little thumbnail I made of Bob Sajak and Vanna Williamson, I had a wheel that was going to spin and thus produce questions for Bob, kind of like a pick your poison kind of a thing. But I don't think that's gonna work out, unfortunately. But we're live, we're here. I still have the questions. You guys just are gonna miss out on the graphics, unfortunately. Yeah. So, who are you, Bob? In case folks don't know, what is it that you are into? What's your whistle and what grinds your gears?
We're gonna just I guess keep it fish related. If you don't know me, I'm into rainbow fish, community aquariums, planted tanks, and that's about it as far as the aquarium hobby.
All right, and what are you not into, like, in the hobby? Like, is there anything that you're like, nah, I'm definitely not a big monster fish shooter. I'm not a saltwater guy, or I'm not.
The only thing that I would probably never do is, I don't want to say monster fish, but like large South American, Central American cichlids, where you have like one cichlid in a 300-gallon tank.
Yeah, understandable.
Not really my style. But I would have monster fish if they were community safe. Obviously, I'm not going to put fish in them that fit in their mouth, but like so, I guess non-aggressive.
So if you had like an 800-gallon tank, and you could have a community, you would put.
I just lost my audio, by the way.
Uh-oh. Did your headphones die? Can you hear me?
It's on my end.
Okay.
It's my headset.
The power died, maybe.
Hold on.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we'll have a little bit of music. So how's everybody doing? It's good to see Paul McCarthy, Lady Rorschach, Nano Aquarium guys, Zen Ginger, EJ, Mark Sturlson, Aquaballs, Cheryl California, Dr. Traplord, Xanadudu, Nano Aquarium guy, Craig, what's up? JP3, what's up? Eric Wyrock, Regina, so good to see you. Mick, so good to see you. And who else is hiding in here? Glenn F, welcome. And also we've got Bob. Obviously we like Bob. Can Bob hear me now?
Yep, I'm back.
You're back? Oh, right on. Very exciting stuff. We've got a Bob. Thomas L. Seedman, hello. Gloria, Silver Creek Aquarist, hello. Michelle E. Osio Llewellyn, hello. Let's see, who else is hiding in here that's come through? Bobby Ward, what's up? Johnny Dan's Fish, Davo, hello. Bobby Ward just said that. Audra, hello. And I'm sure I missed some folks. Oh, I hate stupid people. What's going on? Dee, what's going on? 3G, what's going on? It is awesome to see y'all. So, I did put out questions to be asked of Bob. But my little animation, which is a little wheel that spins, like the wheel you guys have probably seen a million places, isn't working right now. So, yeah.
Perfect.
So, what did you want to do on this show, Bob?
Hey, it's your show. I'll read this super chat while you're eating from Kenny E. To help buy Bob a big fat piece of cheesecake, he says. $10 super chat.
Yeah, cheesecake would be good. I like this pie a lot, though.
I could do without it. I'm not even watching you eat it. looking at other stuff while you eat the pie. I don't have anything against pie. I've still yet to try like a home cooked pie.
Some of your best friends are a pie.
Huh?
I said, are some of your best friends a pie?
Sure.
I don't have anything against pies. I just don't want them in my mouth.
Yeah, I mean, I've never had a good one. How about that?
That's fair. That's fair. All right. So I think pretty much everyone in here knows who Bob is. He is a trendsetter, a revolutionary,
Yeah,
and a cuddly teddy bear. So I wanted to ask a couple questions of you about when did you get into the YouTubes?
I think 2015, 2016-ish.
Okay. You're like a year before me. For some reason, anybody who was before me, I have in my mind that they've been there since the dawn of time.
Well, I think I was the third person to start live streaming in the fish community. John had done it a couple times, and Corey, and then I started. So maybe that's why. That's probably why. Yeah. Yeah, I was watching around that time. I was watching the Green Machine really heavily out of the UK. This is his name, Michael Finley. Yeah. So, I was watching ADU Aquascaping, who doesn't make videos anymore.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's a few of them that have just gone away with time. But there were, I mean, you know, the other thing is like, Dustin's Fish Tanks was like one of the bigger channels at the time, you know, or at least louder channels. He still might be one of the louder channels. Somebody says it was Bob. Bob is fish and fish adjacent. He is he keeps plants, he keeps reptiles, he does a little bit of everything. But I mean, plants seem to be your kick lately. Is there a rhyme or reason to like what you're doing with these plants? Are you plotting something with them?
I am plotting something. A lot of them will end up in the new fish room when it's done, which will be kind of a mix of fish and reptiles.
Oh, cool. Are you thinking of doing like a vivarium?
There will be some, yeah.
More separate.
Yeah, there'll be aquariums, there'll be terrariums, vivariums. I'm building a terrarium right now. So yeah, it'll be like a little bit of everything.
Cool. I mean, that sounds exciting. I think a lot of people have been not sick of fish, but like they want to try new things too, and they see like Surfa Designs or somebody who's kind of like in our niche type of channels, but also does other stuff, and they're like, "Oh, I want to get some of that action." So
I've always been kind of a nerd when it comes to like the rainforest. So like even like reptiles, like I never really got desert species at all. It was always like the rainforest biotope.
Sure, that's cool. I like that. And again, I wanted to acknowledge Kenny and your super chat. Thanks, buddy. Kenny will be the ringleader of Fishtoberfest, or amongst the ringleaders. And this last Fishtoberfest, I saw Bob down there, and he came rolling in and showed up for the extravaganza, which was good to see another face from the Washington crew.
I expect to see everyone there from Washington this year.
Yeah.
Although it's asking a lot because it's on the same freaking weekend as Aquashella?
Yeah, Aquashella Chicago, I think.
Yeah.
But now it's like Aquashella is like 3 times a year now. It's like, what are you guys doing? And like, to me, the only one to go to is Orlando, because like you can go collecting down in Florida and do all sorts of other stuff down there. So like, to me, it's like worth the trip, even though it's, you know, a 6-hour plane ride or whatever, 5.5 hours.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Hey, if they can do it 3 times a year and get people to show up, hey, that's great. I'm all for like more locations. I kind of wish it was in different locations every year, though.
Well, yeah, I kind of wish they do one in Vegas or LA or somewhere where we could get to. I feel like they're leaving out. I mean, in theory, what if Bill Gates is a fish keeper? What if Bezos is a fish keeper. They might be losing out on literally billions of dollars.
And they have fish in the Amazon corporate office.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, that's right. That's
the
right.
biosphere or whatever that's called.
I think it's called Bezos balls. Yeah, no, what is it called? Day one center spheres, the two spheres. Day one
Something
center, two
spheres.
spheres. I think that's what it's called, which is funny. Would you guys ever go to Super Zoo? It's more general, but there's fish stuff. Pet Zoo. Was that? What do we have a different name for? What do we call it? Aqua Zoo, and there's a few different names I've heard for that one.
There's a big pet convention in Vegas. I don't remember the name. I think Super Zoo, is that the one that's in Germany?
Yeah.
That like just happened a week ago.
Yeah, I think so. It's one that Corey's at, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that one is. Oh, did my quality just go way bad?
Yeah, it's been coming back and forth.
Okay, hold on. Let's try. Let me try leaving. Is that any better?
Probably have to give it a minute, but it's starting.
I'm literally just gonna shut down everything that uses internet in the house to make sure that's not what's going on. So, but that's annoying if that's what's going on. So let's get back down here. Yeah, Fishtoberfest will be October 8th and 9th. More info to come soon. Thanks. And that's Kenny, right? Yeah, Danny's not on here at the moment. Yeah. All right. So what got you into fish? I mean, are you a fish keeper, like lifelong hardcore fish keeper, or?
I got into fish from keeping reptiles and kind of exploring that whole rainforest biotope.
Yeah.
So I started with reptiles, then I kind of had fish and reptiles for a while, and then I only had fish, and then I got out of everything when I went to college.
Sure.
And when I came back, I got into fish, and now I'm getting back into reptiles, and now I'm kind of both now again.
Okay, nice. And so the plants, I mean, is this a real new thing that you've surrounded yourself with so many plants, or is this, I mean, it goes well with both hobbies, so.
I've never had this many plants, but I've always done like live plants, you know, when I was like 13 setting up terrariums. I'd be like, let's go to Eagle Hardware and Garden, and I would just buy whatever plants I thought were cool. You're like,
yeah,
you can't just go on the internet and see if they were safe or not. You just had to like trial and error.
Right. You asked the guy at the hardware store, and he's like, I don't know, kid, bug off.
Yep. And my senior project for shop class was I built like an 8-foot iguana enclosure.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and actually I still have part of it.
Do you still have the iguana? I was wondering.
No.
Did he die of old age? You give him away? I was just wondering because
my brother accidentally killed him.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah.
Well, I always wonder because those green iguanas get big, you know, and you see people with them when they're like a foot long or a few feet long, and every once in a while though you'll see one of those like dinosaurs that's someone owns. But yeah, would you ever, like, if you had the means and you could provide for it, like whatever, money wasn't an option and you could build a custom tank, is there a lizard of some sort that you would want, like that you currently don't have or can't have or whatnot?
My bucket list is green tree monitors.
Green tree monitors?
Yep.
Are those the ones from Asia or Australia, or where are they from?
That's actually a good question. I know where they're from, but now I'm drawing a blank. This happens to me all the time. But there's green tree, there's blue tree monitors, there's black tree monitors, and yellow tree monitors. And they're thousands and thousands of dollars. But I've always been obsessed with green, like green tree skinks. I have emerald swifts, which are green. I don't know, something about green.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a pretty striking thing. especially if your enclosure isn't already packed with green, or you've got darker green in there, you know, or whatever. It looks pretty sweet. I was just reading the chat as it scrolls by, and EJ said she wants to tag you. Those are the quickest lizard I have ever seen in my life. If you're anywhere near Florida, go down to Seagrass Farms and ask them if you can visit for your YouTube channel. And in the parking lot, there are hundreds of tegus, and they gave up on trying to catch any of them. I guess they just outsmart like every trap, and now they're like, they say it's not from them, so I will go with that official line for now. But they're all over like Tampa now, and they're finding monitors and other stuff. That's not them, obviously, but it's pretty crazy, all the stuff that is out there now in like Tampa and St. Pete and Miami and Fort Lauderdale. Pretty wild stuff.
Yeah, so, unfortunately there's a lot of companies online that just go out and sell wild caught, you know, wild caught iguanas, wild caught tegus, and they're always sick, and it's kind of sad. But
so that's something, I mean, I don't really know much about, is like how to care for a lizard of any sort. Like I've kept skinks and newts and littler stuff like that. I had a bearded dragon when I was younger, but I've never gotten into it as like a hobby type thing, more like one or two at a time. And I mean, is it just as detailed, I would assume, as like fish keeping with all the stuff you have to know about how to care for them, or is it a little
it's pretty similar? Obviously, you don't have to worry about, you know, cycling your water or anything like that. But you know, they say you can cycle they bioactive is what they call them, bioactive terrariums, but it's not necessary at all.
Gotcha.
I would say it's just as detailed, but different, like worrying about calcium deficiencies or vitamin D deficiencies. Metabolic bone disease is a big problem with reptiles. And
okay, see, I was just talking to somebody in the comments on the channel about like enhancing brine shrimp, and they were talking about asking if there was a way to like put extra calcium and other stuff like that. But they reference crickets and the calcium thing too. I know you can gut load them. Have you ever done any of that gut loading of live cultured food for your?
Oh yeah, so I've raised my own crickets. I have my own colony of dubia roaches right now.
They're the cute roaches.
True. Yeah, they're the good ones. Basically what you feed them is what your pets are going to eat. So yeah, I absolutely gut load. I grow my own vegetables, always like anything that's high in vitamin C, carrots, oranges, things like that.
Nice. What all lizards do you have right now? You have like a whole bunch, or?
So I have some mossy leaf-tailed geckos. I have some helmeted chameleons, emerald swifts, and a Sulawesi water skink.
Oh, cool. That island.
And Dragon Lair has my carpet python.
Oh yeah, like literally the same one.
I sent him my female so we could try to breed him. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I love Patrick. He's a great dude.
Mm-hmm. No luck yet, but
he's not actually a dragon lair.
No,
not yet. Anyhow,
he lives in a dragon lair.
Yeah. So, what's the next big project that Bob is taking on as a? Let's say first as a channel, and then I kind of want to talk a little bit about something other than the channel. But I mean, do you have any ambition of projects or directions that you want to do things in the near future?
The next big project is getting my 300-gallon in the fish room, but honestly, it's probably a couple months away from that.
Okay.
Due to other real life stuff getting in the way.
Yeah. So that brings us to the
And
other.
Dragon Lair says that I need to raise grasshoppers. Like I've got
Yeah,
billions of grasshoppers outside. I can just go out there with a fish net and go whoop.
yeah. I
And
was gonna say,
I'm not afraid of feeding them to my reptiles at all. People always worried about diseases and
yeah,
contaminants. I'm not worried about that at all.
yeah. I do. I mean, I've gotten a lot of blowback on that for saying feed mosquito larvae to your fish. A lot of people are like, no, you're gonna give them Ebola or whatever. But I've yet to have any issues with that. Have you ever had any pest issues with mosquitoes? Like parasites?
I have multiple tubs with mosquito larvae in there, and I scoop out like every other day and feed them my fish.
Yeah, it was no problem.
For years, I've been doing
Yeah.
that.
The only thing that I have seen, and it actually surprised the heck out of me, was I had some really mature or really mature mosquito larvae, like that kind of had the big bristles and the mandibles, and like in their last stage right before they hatch. They might not even be mosquitoes. They might be something bigger than that. But I gave them to my rhamnocentris, and two of them literally choked on eating. Like they ate too many. They ate them till like literally it was still sticking out of their mouth, and they couldn't eat anymore, and they were still trying to choke it down. And they both literally died. Like I tried to save them by like grabbing it, like it was just too slippery, and I couldn't catch them. But that's the only bad thing I've ever seen happen with them. But
yeah, I know. I never like just take a scoop of like hundreds and throw them in an aquarium with like 8
no.
fish. I think that's a terrible idea. So don't do that.
Yeah, I always try to spot feed with them too. Like with a turkey baster, I'll take like 4 or 5 and like squirt it into the center. Otherwise, I feel like you're gonna end up with that buzzing in your fish room like later when
Last thing you want is mosquitoes in your house. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Now I do that with Daphnia because I've got a pond full of billions of Daphne. So I'll scoop up a billion of those and throw them in a fish tank. But
oh, nice. Mosquitoes. Yeah. Yeah. I love Daphnia too. Pound for pound, when I was reading online, like the average Daphnia out of a freshwater pond, they say is like the best thing to feed your fish out of like the common stuff. I mean, there might be some abstract weird bug that we don't usually talk about that's better, but yeah, they say that it's better than baby brine and better than like baby brine and it were neck and neck, but it has some nutrients according to Brine Shrimp Direct's research anyways. And I feel like they're probably not going to lie about that when they sell brine shrimp. I assume they're correct. Be like, these are better than brine shrimp. We made that.
So I've actually never raised brine shrimp ever.
Like never raised them fully or never hatched them?
Never hatched them, never raised them, never fed them, never kept them, none of it.
Really?
What? I have no reason why either. I've just never done it.
It's just like the pie thing.
Yeah.
So
well, see, pie, like, I don't do a lot of sweets in general because I know if I'm already addicted to enough fatty foods. I don't need to get addicted to sweets.
Like barbecue and stuff, or
like carbs, potatoes, bread.
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So the last thing I need is to like start eating pies and cake every day.
Yeah, I understand I understand that. It's like you don't know what you're missing if you never try it. So it's like just don't try it. Mm-hmm. Like not even once, kids. Like Nancy Reagan said, like, pie, not even once. So I'm curious what you're doing though in your private life. I mean, I want you to tell the channel everything, all your dirty secrets, private stuff. Like, how's your own life going? What are the next big steps and plans in that?
Well, besides the couple of dead hookers I have in my trunk,
right?
Not a whole lot. I mean, I got to deal with that at some point, but
I mean, it's not that warm yet, so.
So I guess. I'm building my own house. Not a house.
That little thing.
Yeah, it's not like it's a very small house, a tiny home basically, on my own little plot of land, and that's basically what's going on right now. So,
and what was the address there again?
Yeah, there's no address. That's what's great. Like I don't even have a mailbox. So
nice.
Yeah, it's amazing. It is off grid.
You just get like carrier pigeon notes or something.
Nope, and I got rid of my PO box too. So
Oh wow.
yeah, it's fun. It's really fun.
Are you
Um,
stockpiling like food and firearms yet? Are we at that stage now?
well,
No comment.
yes and no. Like I'm not like a prepper or anything. It's just like I like being out in the woods.
No, I
So
feel you. Yeah. Do you have cool neighbors in the general, like down the road a mile or whatever? Do you know anybody yet or anything?
oh yeah. So it's been we've owned the land for a long time. So
When you say we, is it like your family owns some
yeah,
land or?
family. Yeah.
Okay.
So I basically just bought a small little parcel from my family.
Oh, cool. That's pretty exciting. I mean, that's nice that you like probably know it. Like, did you grow up on that land too? Then, like going up there.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah,
okay.
so I know the area and everything, and
Yeah. Well, that's awesome.
I've got like this really long gravel driveway, and on the end of that is my first neighbor, and he's one of those like shoot first, ask questions last guys. So like I like having those kind of guys in his neighbors because they watch out. They watch for everything.
Yeah. Yeah. He's got like security cameras everywhere.
Yep.
Yeah. Like trespassers will be shot, survivors will be shot again, like that sign.
You know the we don't call 911 on his porch or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. When I lived out northeast of Bellingham, and pretty much every neighbor was about like that, out by the town of Nooksack, which might make you giggle, the town of Nooksack. It's actually pronounced Nooksack, like indigenously. And the high school out there is Squalicum. So there's that. So I'm curious then, like, if you're going to be doing kind of off the grid type stuff, are you still going to are you building like a big fish room and are you going to have the channel still, or do you want to
Yeah,
phase?
so where I am right now is I'm renting a garage.
Oh, okay.
And so half of it's the studio for this, and then the other half is the fish room.
Okay. And is it near your land or is it like a decent drive away?
I have to drive, but it's not very far at all.
Okay. All right. That's
Yeah,
cool.
it's easily manageable. Like I could walk it if I really wanted to.
Oh, wow. That is really close. That's nice. And do you have water nearby? Like, do you have a river or a lake?
Yeah, I have water. I have too much water. Power is going to be the interesting thing.
Yeah.
I do have the engineer's number for PUD, so they can come down and take a look when I'm ready to get power there. But most of it will be solar.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, that sounds like it'll withstand when they get Bremerton, you know?
Yep.
So if you're gonna do that, you're gonna set up. I mean, are you gonna feature that on your channel, or maybe start a new channel by any chance? Like,
Probably not. You know, some people are like, "Man, you should show that," because I have my outdoor channel that I do with Corey and Jimmy.
Right?
They're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, you do that?" I'm like, I'm a pretty private person. Like, even my last house before I moved, I lived there for 20 years, and I did YouTube there for like 6 years, and you never saw the inside of my house. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just a private person, which is kind of weird because here I am on the internet. But
Yeah, I was gonna say. So what? Why are you on the internet then? I mean, is it like you're an extrovert? You know, when the time is right, but really it's like,
it allows an introvert to be an extrovert. Like I
okay,
can
yeah,
stay in my home and still, and the nice thing about YouTube and starting YouTube is like I don't know how I can't see how many people are here, but you literally have all like-minded people to hang out with.
we
Like
have about 140 or so hanging out, I think.
yeah, like I can't go to like a bar and like just start talking about fish with everyone, you know.
Can you
But here
imagine?
we can have like hundreds of people. That should be like a video. Let's just go to a bars and be like, "Hey man, what kind of fish do you got?"
Yeah, can you imagine going to a bar and just like standing up on a table and talking to 150 people and being like, "Hey, everybody, so I don't like pie.
Well, and
That's
that's
mean.
just live stream. Then think about like, because you have like 30,000 subscribers. I have a little bit more. Like, we could fill stadiums. That's crazy.
Isn't that wild? I mean, the thing I've noticed is that you also have like, I mean, you have those really dedicated people that are like fish fam for life kind,
Yeah,
that
like
have been there.
that bitch Zen Ginger. She's everywhere.
Yeah, Zen Ginger. I mean, I had the fortune of meeting her when I went out to Tennessee. It was great. Or actually, no, that was Ginger Graves.
Yeah, wrong Ginger.
Too many gingers. Then there's Ginger Grumble.
Yep.
And there's also another Ginger that hangs out around here on my channel.
There used to be the other Ginger, but
Yes.
then they emailed me and said they changed their name.
Yeah. My name is now Brunette. Whatever.
Now they're hiding it.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, Jason? How's it going? He's doing a contest. Depths Unknown. Do you know Jason? Oh.
I mean, just from seeing
the
name around.
Degenerate Fish Keeper was his old handle.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, he just did a contest of keeping a jar or a bowl or a vase, like to actually do a sustainable one and keep something in there, like was the goal. I guess it's due tomorrow. If anybody's paying attention out there and playing along, that's your reminder. You get one. So Pennsylvania Fish Preacher, what's up? How's it going? Welcome. And Regina, always good to see you too. But yeah, it's called the Pack a Bowl contest, and Ginger or the Zen Ginger just put a link in there. So in the ever changing chat, if you're watching, you can find it. So and
yeah,
Kimberly,
I got an email asking me to do that, but I just don't have time right now.
But you were just like, I hate Jason. Delete.
I mean, that's what I responded. Just
right.
That's how you got to respond to emails so you don't get them anymore.
I'm gonna be real candid here, and I want you to just say yes. I feel the same way, so that I don't feel alone. So when I get those, I get emails, and I love talking to a lot of people. But do you ever get those people who will write and you answer their question really thoroughly, or you spend a good amount of time with them and engage, and they had like 5 bullet points that they needed answered, and then you get another, like, not question, but just like, so I was out in my tool shed today and blah 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 blah, and then it just like keeps going.
I found that happens a lot on Instagram, so I don't even look at Instagram messages anymore.
Yes, Instagram Messenger is the worst for that. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I saw your live stream and I enjoyed it and I like your videos. I'm like, hey, thanks, and it's like, and I'm like,
yeah,
oh my God, what did I just get into?
Yeah, and some people, I'm like, I'll tell them, like, or during a stream, I'll be like, oh, that sounds cool. I'd love to see a picture, and that's fine. But then there's the people who I've never talked to, and they're like, oh, would you like to see 900 photos of my goldfish? But I don't like being mean to people, because I also understand that, like, what's cool about the internet is we can reach out to people who may not have anyone in their town or anyone at their bar that wants to talk about fish, So I guess it's a double-edged sword, but I was curious if that was one of those little scenarios that happens to you all the time as well. So.
Yeah, the only messages I check now, and it's not even that often, is my email. Like, my Facebook message requests are just, I mean, I can't remember the last time I even went in that, because I have like your Facebook messages and there's like the other tab for requests from people that you're not friends with. Like, that thing is just miles long.
Oh yeah, I understand what you're saying. The weird thing is, I've never once, sorry, my back's messed up, so I'm always changing position, but I've never once told people go to my Instagram, and everybody finds my like art Instagram and graphic design, like my business, and just hits me up there, or my email. They'll hit me up on my business email, and not the YouTube page, which is where I would assume I would try to contact someone if they were a YouTuber. But I don't know. Do you see that phenomena too? Like, where people just try to, like, I mean, and I guess Facebook kind of makes sense, but do you see people trying to find you on every form of social media that you have?
Not so much anymore. I think
Yeah.
I've kind of groomed my audience to know, like, if you need to talk to me, you got to email me. And,
Yeah.
I don't get reception where I'm at, like, unless I'm here. So, like, it could be like if I don't check my email when I'm here, then it's like the next time I come here.
Yeah.
So it could be
That's
days.
handy. I mean, for a long time, like right where I'm at this new house, we had terrible, like the internet still isn't that great. And I've got like every package you can get upgraded from Comcast. I hate them. But, and that's like, we have that or Starlink. Like now we've got some satellite options. But other than that, like it's basically Comcast is our option in this little pocket here. Do you have multiple choices for your like internet and stuff where you're at, or is it also limited?
There's two options. One's DSL, and
Oh
then
yeah.
yeah, and then the other one is what I'm on now, which is I think I have 1 gig down and 50 up, so not bad.
Wow. Was that T1 or something?
T1 is actually DSL. So T1 is the same speed as DSL. It's 1.54 megabits. There's just
Oh,
with T1 you have like 30 lines available,
got
right?
it.
So
Okay. Got
T1 used to be fast like 30 years ago.
it. Yeah. Well, I remember when T3 was all the rage for Counter Strike. That was it. Do you remember a little business called Game Clucks at all in Edmonds or Linwood area? It was
No.
a Counter Strike cafe, like I don't know, 15 years ago. Whenever, like, not long after Counter Strike was big online, like during the height of that it's like early 2000s. But they made a lot of money with that little cafe. But I remember when they started, I was like, "There's no way this is gonna work. Like, you're gonna have like 5 high school kids."
So one of my little side gigs back in the day is I used to rent out Counter-Strike servers and
Oh,
then charge people to have admin rights on those servers. Because you could rent out a server that holds like 20 people a game for
yeah,
like $10, but people to get admin rights so they could change the map and ban people, they would pay like $10-15 a month for that.
yeah, I'm sure they have
So
the
that was
power.
always fun. Yeah, you make about, I don't, it wasn't a lot, like it was a couple $100 a month, but it was still enough to pay for new RAM or keep upgrading your computer.
Yeah. Well, one of my, I mean, one of my first like realizations. I played a game called Ultima Online back in the day, which was one of the very first massive online RPGs like that. It's before EverQuest even, and I sold my account when I was 14. When I was like, oh, this is like I need to have a real life. Like I was playing like 12 hours a day or whatever, and my mom when she'd get home from work and then like she'd see me and then she'd see me at like 1 in the morning. She'd come check on me and I'd still be in the same position, like a little like lemur, getting those rares. But I sold the account for like I don't remember what it was, hundreds of dollars though, to an American service member based in Korea, and he just sent me Western Union blindly to like do the exchange. And I was like, Mom, I need to ride to Western Union. And she's like, what? Like she just thought I was getting the like Nigerian scam or something. And but she took me up there and I got it. And when it cleared and I got cash from it, my parents were like dumbfounded. They like sat me down and they were like, so it's not real. This is gold on the game. Like, and now it's like, it's so crazy how currency and tokens and badges is like everything revolves around that in certain niche, in gaming and all that stuff. So,
Yeah, I used to level WoW characters and sell WoW accounts.
oh yeah. And,
Hmm.
and like flip them then afterwards.
Hmm.
So is that like where you
So
just
I would multi-box and have multiple characters leveling at once,
Oh wow.
and then as soon as they hit 60, sell them off. Because back in the day, you get $200-300 for a max level character.
Yeah, yeah. Pretty crazy. um People are asking. I played Ultima Online is what I played, guys. And no, I did not play Meridian 59, but I do know of of that one. I started playing it in 98, I think, 97 or 98. But Bob, I have a question that somebody submitted. Nick actually submitted it, so I'm going to throw him under the bus. He has to own up to his questions. But best mentors. What are the best mentors you've had in this hobby, both in real life and online on the internet?
I mean, both would be Corey. Like,
yeah,
there's not even a close second.
Not even close. Did you ever get involved with Fish Club or anybody like Dean or Lawrence or any of the other?
I was in the fish. I was really active in the Fish Club, but I never like talked to anyone.
Sure, that's the way I was.
So I don't know if you remember Jay and Carol.
Yeah.
So where I live now is actually really close to where they used to live.
Oh yeah.
And so I would go over. They were like the only people I interacted with. I'd go to their fish room all the time.
They had a sweet fish room.
Yeah, one of the nicest I've ever seen. And they were like the only people I'd ever interact with. A couple other people, they'd say hi, or like someone would recognize me and say hi. But that's about it. So
yeah. So I mean, do you see yourself ever doing like more Fish Club stuff again, or do you see that model outdated for yourself personally? Like, there's not really a need for it anymore.
Well, I don't. I think it's a good thing. I think the Seattle Fish Club is very outdated, and that's why I kind of stopped being involved with it or going. I mean, they still use email, like
not email, listserv.
It's
where everybody gets the email.
Yeah, and there's no moderation. Like, if somebody says something inappropriate, they respond to the email and be like, "Hey, can you please stop or take this off list?" But
hey, you're being unfair. They started doing that about 9 months ago after somebody spammed calling everybody old gray-haired guys. So now it goes through a council of the Council of Four or whatever that they have to they all have to okay the email. So there's a delay now between.
Oh my gosh! Like, there was already always a delay. Like,
I know. So it can, and the other crazy thing, I won't.
Versus just all this work instead of just using Facebook, like create a Facebook group. It just blows my mind.
Yeah, they have a Facebook group now, but there's like a whole separate group of people that manage that and are allowed to deal with those issues, and then they bring it to the. I don't know.
They literally have the resources to even make their own website and forum and everything. Like,
they could build their.
They have no shortage of funds at all.
Yeah, hold on a sec. My wife's friends are here, so. And
is that what I hear in the background?
I don't mean to stereotype, but they're gay men in their 50s that are very flamboyant, and they just got here after not seeing my wife for a long time, and so it was just, oh my god, super loud, 5 people all at once. So yes, they're great people. They used to be my roommates, whatever, but they're loud. So yeah, that's what you heard. Yeah, it's crazy because the Seattle Fish Club had enough money at one point that they weren't going to be considered a nonprofit anymore.
They were maxed out in their bank account. They couldn't have any more.
And I'm like, at that point, can't you guys just give eggs? Can we buy some care species and give eggs to anybody who wants to spawn them, or do something? But yeah, I mean, our auction, we just had a big auction. Kenny came up for that, and another guy.
So I don't know if it's still like this, but one of my biggest issues was them trying to strong arm LFSs to give them their 10% discount to members. But then when it came to spending money on these big auctions, they wouldn't spend any money at the local fish stores. So hey, let's buy some fish from here. They would always go to the Florida farms and, buy stuff wholesale, which whatever. But you got to support your local stores, But then it was it came auction time, and they would hit up the local stores what are you going to give us for free? It was always a one-way relationship, and I never dug that.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I'm surprised that the stores give any sort of discount, honestly.
Well, the one in Marysville was like, no, I'm not doing it.
But yeah, that one's like way out of range anyways. Like, yeah, for sure. Hey, I just saw Mick said, did you guys see the first ever albino Galapagos turtle born in
Wow.
Switzerland? No, I haven't seen it, but that sounds really cute. And if I had this working, which Brian, thank you so much, but right now I'm having internet difficulties that I'll have to figure out and camera hardware difficulties. I'd show you guys, but I can't pull it up, unfortunately, right now. And that's why we're not doing the Wheel o' STEENFOTT either. But in the spirit of the Wheel o' STEENFOTT, I'm going to move on to another question, which is a good one. Someone suggested. And what is the most rewarding thing within the hobby that you've experienced so far? Like it could be a task, but it could be overall like just what you get the most out of in fish keeping as a whole. Like,
I don't know that rewarding is the right word for it, but just the relaxation I get
sure,
is my absolute favorite part of the hobby. Like that I can just this is what I love about community aquariums. Like I can just sit and stare at them forever.
yeah, no, I'm the same way. I mean, you get a couple fish species interacting, and it's like endless entertainment. Like right now, I've been distracted this whole stream because I have a Caridina set up, and there is a cherry shrimp in there, and I don't know what happened, but she was buried, and now she's upside down, and there are like 7 shrimps ripping her apart, and I'm just like, what went wrong? What happened there? You know? But yeah, it's just endless situations that go on in our little boxes. I agree. That's a good one. And then, I mean, is there anything within the hobby that's changed since you've been in the hobby that you feel like is a bad thing, like, or is a direction that you would like tell folks like don't go with that trend, or whether it's mystery snails being huge or monster fish,
Mhm.
or I mean, a lot of that has been around plenty of time. Nano fish, but is there anything you've seen pop up that you feel like is not the best and you'd like to see done differently?
Yeah, but it kind of relates to like it's just YouTube hobby related stuff. So
Yeah.
um, there's stuff that I wish would change in the hobby.
Well,
But
yeah.
I don't like as far as what YouTube has obviously done amazing things for the hobby.
Yeah.
Um, but the shock content at the cost of fish really pisses me off.
Yeah. No, I totally agree.
And that wasn't around when I first started YouTube.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. Like catch 'em all fishing and some of those
Hmm.
channels where they just, put goldfish down a 200 feet of pipe at 60 miles an hour just because it's funny or whatever. Like, yeah.
Yep.
I don't quite understand. Like, I recently saw a channel that has over 1 billion views called Magnet Balls, and they were putting like angelfish in like a 20-ounce pop bottle, like 2 full-grown angelfish with like the top cut off, and it's like they're just crammed in this tube. And then by the end of it, like they built like a magnetic, those little connector ball things. They'd build a set, and the fish would clearly be dead at the end of the video, like when they do their final panning shot. And you could see like a goldfish upside down in one container, and maybe most fish were okay, but it was just like they had video after video like that, and all these subscribers, and like I said, billions of views. They were rated like number 122 out of the most popular channels of all of YouTube. And yeah, same kind of thing. It's like it wasn't shock, but it's under the kids category for like entertainment, kids education and entertainment. So then I told folks, well, let's try to report them. And there's no button for animal cruelty on YouTube. And I get that they're probably worried about like PETA folks that are over the top that would be like, that's cruelty to your fish for having it in a tank at all or whatever. But it seems wrong that they don't have some sort of standard for that. I don't know. Well,
Yeah, I've reported someone one time, and yeah, you do have to do other, but I feel like in any time, in any scenario, you have to click other. The person on the other end is like, whatever.
yeah,
Like, whatever.
yeah. Sadly, I agree that I think that's what's happening. Because I know we at least had 60 people that for sure followed through with, reporting one video on that channel, like all at once. And it's not going to make a dent. I mean, it's kind of like the Joey situation that happened that I generally don't talk about. But actually, guys, Bob was one of the few people that like helped coach me through that. And when I was like, I don't know what to do, I need a bigger, smarter human being than me. I reached out to Bob. So I appreciate your thoughts on all of that and everything. But it was kind of like that where like I didn't realize a big channel can just report a little channel at some, there's some cutoff at 1 million subs, or when you're partnered, I think is what it must be.
Well, when you're at 100,000, you get your own actual like YouTube person to talk to.
Like a liaison or something.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe it's.
And then I think once you're at 1 million, then you get something else.
You get like a silver play button or whatever.
I think you just get more access because right now at like
you can't do anything.
At 10,000 subscribers, you get like the little help thing, and you can actually talk to someone, but it's like calling Comcast, and like expecting to get help.
It's always like, this is Johnny. This is Johnny.
Yeah.
And how may I help you, sir? And then like, real quickly you realize they're in Mumbai or something, or it's a bot. That's the most infuriating, is when something just goes straight to like the option menu, like the phone trees and bot trees. That drives me nuts.
Yeah, I spammed YouTube for months about getting verified. For months, I was like, I don't even care. I'll spend 15 minutes every day resubmitting, sending emails, doing whatever.
Wait, what do you mean by getting verified? Like for
so you have the check mark.
Oh, gotcha.
Because they're like, you don't get it till you're at like 100,000, but every single celebrity in the world is verified, whether they have like 2,000 subscribers. So it's not like a actual set in stone rule. And then like Rachel O'Leary couldn't even get verified. Like it took her like 8 months or something to get verified.
Well, after, the other one was when I was able to be monetized, was right when Adpocalypse had just been starting. Back in those times, back in the days of Adpocalypse. But it took them 9 months because of the backlog of how bad that got screwed up before I could do, monetization of any sort. But I'm like, I know they're putting ads on my videos. Like I had this like whole conspiracy in my head that I thought was going on.
Well, the thing about Adpocalypse is like YouTubers abuse the crap out of that.
Yeah.
Like so many YouTubers were like, I'm not making money. And I'm like, well, I just watched 2 ads to get to this video of you saying that you're not getting ads and you can't make money. Oh, I was so pissed off. I was calling out people left and right. And there's people in the fish community doing it too. And I called them out and I was like, no, you're not. Like,
I know people are like, what is my piranha going to eat for dinner? I can't send my betta to school. Yeah. I mean, since I came in with the board game basically set at hard, or whatever you want to call it, like set at Adpocalypse, to me, I was just like, well, I guess that's how it is. That sounds okay. So whatever. So I was curious, in the hobby, I mean, we talked about trends, but in the hobby, in the next 3 to 5 years, I mean, let's make it like the next 10 years. Are there any things that you think are going to happen for good or for bad? Like, do you foresee anything unfolding, and the hobby adapting, evolving, changing, whatever you want to call it?
I think we're going to see more competition as far in the business side of the hobby, which is going to be good because now we just have a bunch of old fossils at the head of all these giant corporations not doing anything except spending money on their vacations to go you know, to like the aquatic experience, which is just a joke, but I think we're going to see a huge shift in competition, because there are companies, smaller companies, kind of starting to make some pretty big waves now.
Yeah. I mean, do you want to shout out any, like, a couple of those companies that you like or that you see that, you know, could be shaking things up?
Well, I mean, the two I think specifically recently would be like obviously the co-op's been doing it for a
Yeah.
while now, but now Higer, um, they're kind of coming in and
Yeah.
starting to see the value of creators, whereas a lot of the big companies don't see that value. You know, they don't
Right.
even know what YouTube is. Like,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous.
I know, you look at what like my wife, she works for Charlie's Produce, which does wholesale produce, everything west of the Mississippi, basically billions of dollar company, but she is the marketing director, and she is the one who's supposed to hire like influencers to do ads or whatever. But just to get them to have someone cut up their asparagus on TikTok, and this was somebody with 1 million subscribers. They wanted $30,000. That was the going rate for a 30-second TikTok
Mm-hmm.
to do something creative for a company for with 1 million subscribers. And she like went to like dozens of creators trying to find someone.
TikTok, the people on TikTok are making a lot of money right now.
Yeah. And I mean, she went through Instagram, and Instagram, it was like all over 20,000 to do, you know, for an exclusive post, it was something like 5,000, like just for photos. But that was around 1 million. And then if she went to like local Seattle area, like 50,000, 100,000 people, like chefs and stuff. Um, Needless to say, it's just astronomically beyond anything the fish
Facebook
world.
used to be the cheapest, like by far the cheapest to advertise on.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is, like, I mean, to buy a whole sheet in the newspaper 40 years ago, I mean, this is the new newspaper, except it's better because it's like a specialized newspaper with millions of viewers doing the sports section alone or something, you know?
I also
Um,
think, you know, barring any legislation,
yeah.
I think we're going to have a lot more access to more species in the future. With, I mean, you go back 10 years ago, like it was a nightmare shipping fish,
Oh,
and it
yeah.
was super expensive. Like the cost of shipping fish has come down. The resources to ship fish are way more available to people. So
Yeah.
I think we're gonna have a lot more access to more just captive bred
Yeah.
species.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I watched what was it, that Coral 12-gallon channel, and the Heiko Blair. Did you see that video at all? They go down to the
I don't watch
Amazon.
this channel. No.
I don't either, hence me not really knowing the I don't know the name for sure. But I did watch the Heiko Blair video that's like an hour long. It's produced like a, you know, Discovery Channel show or something, or more like a History Channel show, honestly. Like Ice Road Truckers without the dramatic voice. But I mean, they went and they showed how they were going to remote parts of Colombia with Heiko Blair, and his whole goal of trying to find new fish and stuff. But they found two new species that hadn't been mentioned before, at least not their full Latin name by any means. And they're really cool looking fish and everything. But I mean, the fact that they were able to get them back and then fly them out and then like have centers and stuff, like the fact that they're even in Colombia, that's a huge, you know.
Yeah, try going to Colombia in the 80s.
Yeah, or even just 10 years ago. I mean, there was like half of Colombia that the FARC.
Yeah, they just had their civil war, right?
Yeah,
Like 10 years ago.
I mean, well, yeah, there was guerrillas that basically, you know, controlled half the country. So yeah, but actually, and you know, Heiko Blair was mentioning that, you know, he runs a big import export company out of Germany, and he said that he had companies approach him in the 80s that wanted to ship fish, and they wanted to pay him $10,000 a box to ship fish, and he was like, "What?" You know, and didn't get it. And then later it became clear that they were stuffing the fish full of not levamisol, let's put it that way. Yeah, Steven.
Kind of like what we do when we ship stuff to Canada. We'll throw a few meds in there.
Yeah, yeah. Here you go. Here's some white cloud minnows inside of my whatever in the cave that I'm sending you. So what are are rainbow fish still your top fish, or do you have another secret love that would be like a top fish? If I had to ask you, like,
Well,
it
I
doesn't
love
need
a
to be
lot of
one.
fish, but rainbows will probably always be on the top.
Yeah.
But I love apistos, I love cories, I love rasboras. Those are kind of my top outside of rainbow fish.
No, that's I love. Yeah, cories are one of mine too. That's and rasboras are another one that I absolutely love. I'm looking right now for a healthy line of rummy nose, the Sabua resplendens, rummy nose, orange rummy nose. So many of them that I've had like die when you look at them. Like you get them in and they do okay, and like a week later they're just all dead, and I don't know what's up with that.
So I brought them in when I was reselling fish.
Yeah.
And I got them stabilized, and they did just fine for me. But as soon as I sent them somewhere else, it was like, whatever, we give up. We're done. We're gonna
Sure.
die.
Yeah, no, I think what it is any change, like you're saying, because I've also had a batch that was like bulletproof. Like I could do water changes that were like not even dechlorinated. Whoops, forgot. Like just or put them in another tank. Like I moved them from one tank to another, and they lived their whole life. They lived all 3 years or whatever, and we're fine. But I have this the Lake Inlet biotope that I'm setting up for like the biotope contest, and I've gone through two groups of them that haven't done well, and so I've been looking for a local breeder. Like I've bred them too. Everything in Lake Inlet is really easy to breed because it's like that lake is like I don't know, smaller than Lake Washington. It's like 25 miles long, 14 feet deep, and 10 miles wide, and there's 50 species that all mate and reproduce in that same lake. They don't have anywhere to go, so. I've learned that that's kind of I'm going to throw that out there. I'll call that as a trick in the sense that find lakes that are a contained biotope, like Sulawesi. Like a lot of the creatures that live there, people might assume that they're hard to take care of, and they may be in that they have a unique need of some sort, like hard water or soft water. But if they're from a lake like Lake Turkana, or if they're from a lake or a river that's kind of contained and they breed and live and they don't move anywhere, they're not going anywhere, like that's probably going to be a pretty sturdy fish. If it has to exist in one lake its whole life, if there's a wet season and a dry season, all that. But I mean, do you have any advice in fish keeping that you feel like is something you've kind of come across and is an epiphany that maybe you don't hear other people saying very often? Do you have anything?
Well, when I first started my website and selling fish, like I was losing fish. The only place that I could get accounts were from a couple places like on the East Coast. And I was like, man, some fish do really well and some fish just die immediately. And it was Rachel O'Leary that was like, yeah, osmotic shock, dumbass. I think that's exactly what she told me. And I was just like, oh, obviously this is what's going on. That's like, I was like, I was been struggling for like 3 shipments in a row, and like half my fish were always dying. And I was like, duh, obviously that's what's going on. It was so obvious. And then like I didn't lose any other fish from the East Coast.
Yeah. So was that about mostly salinity then? Is that what, or pH? I mean,
yeah, she was like,
yeah.
so just when you plop and drop, just throw a ton of salt in there. And I
Yeah.
was like, okay, I'll try it.
Well, that's something that
Obviously it works.
that's something that people don't realize is that freshwater fish can pretty much go into saltwater, like for a while, but saltwater fish cannot go into freshwater. And it has everything to do with like, do fish drink water? Do fish pee? Well, freshwater fish just absorb what they need and then it comes and goes. Saltwater fish actually have to take gulps of water or filter it through a special organ in their gills that like desalinates it for their for their body to run it through. And so they'll actually like they pee out their quick, whereas the other ones or freshwater fish, they have waste, but it's any case. But yeah, I find that really interesting. Like some of the oldest treatments, like salt dips, turning the temperature up, that kind of stuff, is really all you need when it comes down to it frequently.
Yeah. So some of the other things I've learned, and it was really interesting, like starting this whole like resale business and learning,
Yeah.
like a lot of exporters, like just use so much salt, like tons of salt, and then the fish go through that, and then they reach like the importers again, lots of salt. Some have medication, but then when they get to wholesalers, like wholesalers are just pumping these fish full of meds. Like I've been to wholesalers where the water is like blue or green, and I'm like, what's going on here? And they're like, yeah, that's
like that.
that's the medication.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so you're basically making all these fish immune, like, or not the fish, but the diseases are going to become immune to all this medication. And so that's why I think now it's like we've gone for full circle and we're back to salt working, whereas a lot of medications, you know, they still work, but sometimes they don't. Like I've had ICX work, I've had it not work.
Well, and to me, it's not a matter of whether it works or not. That's like my underlying issue. It's whether it also throws off your cycle or kills, you know, certain plants or melts your crypts or whatever it may be, you know, like there's like all these little side effects, and we try so hard to keep a little ecosystem. And it's like when I look under the microscope, that's when I really remind myself every time I do that, that I'm like, holy cow, there are dozens of species of little critters that our fish are eating and that are breaking down poop and that are like, and I mean, I've answered people when they ask me, but I still don't quite understand how all those creatures get in our tanks. Like the amount of diversity that's in there and the weird little like amoebas and like little micro crustaceans. I'm like, these really all just came in on plants and stuff. Like, I don't know. It just blows my mind sometimes.
Well, it's really crazy if you just like sterilize a 10-gallon aquarium, fill it up with like distilled water, RO water, whatever you want, and just let it cover it completely and let it sit there. And eventually you'll have just all these microorganisms in there.
Yeah.
And it's just like they just spontaneously appear.
Well, and that's like I think it was Socrates thought that life, or maybe it was Aristotle. Anyways, one of the old Greek guys thought that like life just, you put a bucket of water there and wait long enough, and that's how life happens, you know? And I see
there's a word for it, like spontaneous something. There's a word for it. I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, I can't think of it either right now, but I know, I know exactly what you're talking about. But it's just, I mean, especially before a microscope's like, what else would you be able to think about that? Like, it's just kind of crazy. So, I mean, as far as the hobby and like, I mean, being that you've been a wholesaler too, or rather a retailer, is there anything that you'd say that you've learned as like a mistake you made? Like, have you ever brought in a bunch of these and done this and you're like, oh man, why did I do that? I mean, like that you learned from, that wasn't just like, that sucks.
A lot of it is just learning when you're buying from wholesalers is each wholesaler has their fish that they do well with, and each one has their fish that will just always die. And there's no way to know without just buying and trying and
right.
And unfortunately, it comes with the cost of fish and lots of money.
Yeah.
But it's something that pretty much anyone who starts a fish business is going to have to go through and learn. Like, okay, this company, they do rainbows well. This company, they always come in dead, you know? Or this company is shipping like cyprochromis when they're an inch long, which obviously they're all going to break their spines by the time they get here in the mail.
Yeah. It's interesting. You know, the company that I've wanted to always like know more about forever has been the wet spot. Like they're breeding so many things there. I'm like, if you guys had a channel or like even a newsletter like better than the one you have, like where you talk about how you're breeding, like some of the things you're breeding in tank bred conditions, like they've got like an airport hangar, like out by the airport where they breed like, I don't know, 400, 500 species.
Have you been to their facility?
Yes, but I haven't gotten to tour it properly. Like I was there,
Well, they
and
don't let you take pictures. They don't let you film.
no, exactly. And
And the owner
and
is so
what?
anti YouTube. I don't think you'll ever see them posting anywhere on YouTube.
No, they've let me tour their stores and stuff, like, and invited me, and they sent me an order once asking like if I would promote them, and I was like, yeah. And then that lady got fired that was doing
Their turnover is insane.
It's insane, yeah. But she was like going to be their head of like HR and marketing, or like she's wearing a bunch of hats. But yeah, and then I mean, one of their owner is in the club, in the Guppus club. So next time I go down there, I'll have to like ask him like, hey, what's up? When are you gonna start a channel? I saw on that note, actually,
I'd be curious to see what he says, because he hates YouTubers with a passion.
Yeah, I know. He hates YouTubers. He hates YouTubers though that are sensational, I think, if that makes sense. Like,
yeah, I mean,
I don't think he hates Rachel O'Leary's channel. I don't think he hates. There's certain channels that I don't think he minds. Just by reacting to talking to him a little bit. But yeah. Did you see that the owner of ZooMed is opening up his private collection of like hundreds of aquariums and like pet collectibles of all sorts? They're gonna start a museum in San Luis Obispo finally, with like all those rare gilded tanks and stuff.
So that would be amazing to see.
Yeah.
I do like a lot of the stuff that ZooMed does. I think they make a lot of cheap products, but
yeah.
As far as what they do with and how they take care of their animals, I highly support them for that.
Yeah, no, I think they do a lot to also support the hobby, like and same with, I think there's a few companies, CChem's not bad, like supporting certain causes within the hobby or charities and things. But yeah, I've been trying to get a hold of that guy. They made a video that was like, this is our first video, and if you're interested, and he mentioned a bunch of different stuff, and as a history-based channel of the aquariums, a few of the things that he's like, we don't know where this came from, but we're assuming it's French. And I'm like, I have a book that says where that's from, And so I really wanted to get a hold of him, and I wrote him like 3 times, still haven't heard back. So it might be one of those things where someone else is running the channel for him, but I'm still excited to see whatever comes out of it. Like, I don't think he is hands-on whatsoever with it, So,
like, I get people, if I message them, they're like, is this really you, or is this like your social media manager? And I'm like, I have like the smallest channel ever. Why would I have a social media manager?
Yeah, I feel like people don't quite. Yeah, they don't know. They either really overestimate or really underestimate certain things about you. Well,
I'm like, thanks. You think I could pull that off? But no, it's me.
Yeah. Did you get ththose crazy thunderstorms earlier this morning and yesterday?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got some loud ones this morning around 5 a.m., 6 a.m. It's pretty cool looking. I don't know. I'm still drawn to it. There's something wrong with me in my head, I think, but I still like want to go watch it.
Very loud.
Yeah, it was like Texas or Florida thunder and lightning where it cracks. We don't get that so much here. But Bob, I think my signal or your signal, one of our signals seems to be doomed this stream. But I really want to thank you for coming and hanging out. I'm bummed that my little wheel of fortune thing didn't work out quite the way I wanted, but I got through some of the questions. It was a gimmick more than anything else, anyways. But I appreciate it. Is there anything you want to mention that you're up to, or any sites or?
No, I'm not here to promote anything I've got going on, because even if I was, I don't really have anything going on. So,
and if you could just repeat your address one more time for everyone, that would be great. And
Sure.
Maybe
Yeah.
maybe your social security number and a cell phone number, just in case they can't find your address.
My credit card number.
Yeah. Zinginger says lightning cracking. That's not normal. It has a low, slow rumble in the Northwest very frequently. It cracks due to the humidity and how much air is expanding, how quickly. That's what determines that. And when it's humid,
when you're right next to someone or next to a lightning bolt or get hit with one, you know the crack, because I've been pretty close. I've never been hit, but I was about 30 feet away from pole that got hit.
Yeah, I have to say, when I got hit, I didn't hear anything.
You probably don't remember hearing anything.
Right. No, my vision just went fuzzy white, and I woke up like with that, like almost like a movie scene where the ears are ringing, and my vision was just white, and like with my heartbeat, it slowly came back, like from foggy white to like blurry. And then it was just like my wife being like shaking me, being like, "What the hell happened? Why is the table broken?"
Used to be how I wake up every day.
Don't start there. Yeah, that's how all of my teens and early 20s went. Yeah. No, I understand. Well, one last question though. What's your favorite fish to fish for, since you've been out fishing so often lately?
I'm always gonna love rainbow trout.
Yeah.
It's always gonna be my favorite.
Did you know that they're not native to our state?
I did. They're pretty much invasive to a lot of areas.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised when I learned that. I'm gonna pretend like you're amazed too, because it's news to me and I don't want to be dumb. So,
well, when I was younger, I would catch a lot of cutthroat, but now I hardly see any cutthroat.
Never. Yeah. I mean, it's just hard to catch them anyways. Like, I swear they raise the like the triploid, the big old rainbow trouts that they farm raise, and they're like, they pick each one up and shove corn down its throat. No, they taste
like that.
Yeah, yeah, they taste pretty corny. But they're still fun though. They still have a good fight. I didn't realize until the last year or two though how isolated we are fish wise in the Northwest. Like, we've got one dart, we're two types of darters, one dace. Whereas like, Alabama, Tennessee, Ohio, they've got like 40, 100, whatever it is.
Well, I mean, if we're talking about like stuff that we could go out and catch and put in our aquariums, I mean, we got perch, crappie, bass. Yeah, we have, but obviously these are not aquarium fish.
No. It just surprises me though, like the diversity. The Rockies really cuts off a lot of what evolved inland. Like, we've got like sticklebacks and panfish basically, and a few catfish
that are also invasive.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of invasive minnows.
Yeah, there's the northern pike minnow that's native to the Rockies. That's a terrible fish that's ruining the Columbia River that we have now. They'll pay you though. It's like $4 a fish, I think, to catch them. And there's some guy who made they showed him on the news. He made like 58 grand last year just fishing every day for those and other fish too. But like just to kill those for the bounty, he was getting pike minnow.
Wow.
Yeah,
I don't think I enjoy fishing that much, but it's probably fun to do once or twice.
I was gonna say, you want to start a side project with me, a side hustle?
A side hustle.
Well, Bob, I appreciate it. Thanks for coming by and hanging out. And I guess, you know what? I didn't ask the audience. It's not fair. If you don't mind, we'll take a couple questions if anybody has one. You have time for that? Is that okay, Bob?
Yeah. I didn't even know there was a time limit on this thing, so.
I didn't either. It's just that, I'm wondering if everybody showing up at my house to visit my wife, if they all have their Wi-Fi on their cell phones, and it's just drained our bandwidth or something.
Yeah, your audio cuts out every once in a while, but it's not terrible. It's way better than the first like 15 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, really? Okay. That's good to know. So does anybody have any questions? All ye faithful gathered round the bar as we yell on top of the table about fish. I want you to try that out in like Arlington or Marysville. Not that those are like far out places anymore. They used to be. but
I don't even know if there's bars there.
you could go to
I've been drinking so long, I have no idea.
Yeah. Well, okay. That's another thing is there's so many sober fish tubers, or formerly degenerates that are now sober or whatever, or they just never drank or whatever it is. But like I've always appreciated that, and I've always been like, I want to hang out with those people because I find it hard to like find a social group that doesn't just hang around like a nightclub or a bar or a pub or something, beer
That's
related.
one of the unfortunate things about like the aquatic experience. Like 6 o'clock, let's all go to the bar, or let's all go to the hotel bar, and everyone just gets drunk, and I'm just like, well, guess I'll just do nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than hanging out with drunk people when you're sober.
I agree. Yeah, especially like, I mean, honestly though, like if you're trying to quit drinking, or if you just like have that sense like, yeah, I want to stop for a little while, it's pretty easy to hang out with those same friends you have. It has to be the same people you usually thought you liked, and then you hang out with them sober completely for like a while, like till the end of the night, and you're like, oh man, how did I find that fun?
Exactly.
That is brutal. That's difficult mode. Well, I don't see anybody asking any questions. Jerks, do you see any?
Nobody cares about me.
Everybody's like, we can already access Bob. We don't need his guest spot.
Been around for too long.
We
already know everything.
It's like the little thing I was talking to. Who was I talking to? Was it you that I was talking to about me answering comments on the channel?
I think so.
Yeah, where like I made a point after the Joey thing to try to answer every comment that someone leaves on a video on my channel, and I've tried for a year. And since I've done that, my super chats like on the graph have dropped like threefold, because people used to think it was hard to get a hold of me and they wanted an opinion, they wanted your input on something, and so they'd wait for a live stream, or they'd whatever, they'd write you a really sincere, detailed email. But when you answer every question, not that that's gonna like stop me from trying, but I just found that funny, like the psychology behind that, like how if you're a little bit hard to get a hold of, you're worth more,
It's interesting. So on my live streams, I always try to answer like every single question. I don't do it on comments. I try to read every comment, but I'm not someone who's going to respond and answer every comment.
Yeah.
But on my live streams, I was like every single question. And there's actually, I forget who it was. It might actually have been Rachel. She was like, stop answering every question. So people will super chat you questions. And I'm like, well, super chats are nice. And, it'd be nice to get $1,000 every live stream, but that's not why we live stream,
Yeah, no, I agree. I live stream because they're like, actually, you guys are actually like my friends in my social life.
This is the only social life I have is live streaming.
Yeah, no, seriously.
And I love it that way, to be honest. Because
yeah, I'm okay with it too, especially when you try to cut out the drinking, especially like for me, because I grew up in a town that was small. Or I mean, I went to school in a town that was small, lived there for 10 years almost, then came back home to Seattle, to the suburbs where I grew up and the city where I grew up. And it was just like, oh, cool. Everybody that I knew from high school is still right where I left them 12 years ago, And so, yeah, I think it's great to have this. Let's see. Ira, you want to know something about black neon tetras? I'm almost positive I have a video on them. If I don't, watch one on the blue or green neon tetras. I bet Bob has a video on one of those. They're very similar to the blue or green neon tetra in care, but they will sustain lower pH. They will enjoy tannic water a little bit more than just your typical.
they get a little bigger.
Yeah, and they get a little bigger. They got lots of leaves. If you watch my video on Phantom, black Phantom tetras, they're pretty similar, like where they're from and what they eat and size and all that. But yeah, let's see here. Somebody said we're waiting for your combined genius to flow. Well, you guys are going to be waiting a while. But thank you.
Zen has a question.
Go for it, man.
Bob, are you realistically ever going back to fish sales? I'm not gonna say never. It'd be pretty unlikely. The amount of work it takes is insane, and so I would
Yeah.
only do it if I had someone helping.
Yeah, like a
That's it.
chimpanzee that you trained really well.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like, as a one-man operation, the amount of sales I was getting, I was having to get up at like 3 or 4, pack as many fish as I could before the 10 p.m. or the 10 a.m. cutoff. I have to drive, drop them off, come back, pack as many more fish as I could before the 3 p.m. USPS cutoff, drive back. And it was just like, I never got a lunch break. I never got to eat breakfast. It was just nonstop. And of course, you know, I would only generally ship Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. So like I'd go through this whole like 12-hour day on Wednesday, and then I'd have to sit down and like try to find energy to like live stream for 2 hours, and it just made for a really long day. So I would definitely need help. And I was like right at that point where if I only did like 10 more packages, I could actually have them come to my house, but I like physically wasn't able to package enough to justify them coming to my house and actually picking up the packages. Because like, no, I'm not like in a like Seattle or somewhere where 3 male people drive by every single day. Like I'm out rural. And so they wouldn't just come to my house for, 20 packages.
You know what's crazy is where I lived in Ballard, it had its own like routing center in Ballard for the post office, and then SeaTac or Federal Way had another one down by the airport. So when it would come to Seattle, normally it would go to there and then it would dispatch off of there. But Ballard, because it's special, and North Seattle, everything to like Northgate and stuff, it actually would sit an extra day. So if it was like a 2-day or like overnight shipment, frequently if it got there after 10 or 11 or whatever time they have to load, it would just sit. And so it'd be a whole extra day. So Jason, who's over Redfish Bluefish on Whidbey Island, he was having stuff shipped way faster than I was out of Ballard.
Yeah, and he's on like some obscure island out in the Puget Sound.
Yeah, I know. He's on an island out in the middle of the water. It's insane. I just want to turn this around really quick so I can show Bob what's about to come his way. Let's see here. Turn around every now and then. Okay, you see how the sky's like black up there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's happening. That's headed your way. I love it though when it's
2 hours away.
Yeah. So I love it when it's like lit up, and you can see like the black against the trees that are bright green. Looks pretty cool. All right. Well,
one more quick question for Mickham. Says, am I going to visit Danny soon? It is in the works to get an update because she's got a lot of new stuff in her fish shed. Probably a few weeks away from that, but yes, that is in the works.
Right on. I like those videos you guys do. She's so photogenic and likable too.
Mm-hmm.
She's very like hostable. That's not the word. Hospitable.
Hostable. All right. New word.
All right. Well, do we see any other questions that I'm missing? I don't see any, but you are welcome anytime other than next week, because I've had enough of you right now. But other than that, Bob, you're welcome back anytime.
Awesome. It's always fun.
No,
I love being on other people's live streams because then I can swear and there's no pressure.
Well, I feel like you've never been on the stream, so I wanted to do one of kind of the like background.
Wait, stream?
Is this live?
Is this live? What?
Yeah, dude, I can't erase this.
Can you
that
take
part
it down?
Where you got naked and ran around in circles and like did all that stuff with your plants? That's permanent.
That was supposed to be for my OnlyFans. Like
OnlyFans.
Mm.
Yeah, I think we should do that. Honestly, that's the next thing that's gonna happen. Is there's gonna be an OnlyFans channel for like a fish creator, and it's gonna be like, watch me feed a chihuahua to my Oscar. There's that probably exists already. I can't stand that stuff. But well, Bob, I really appreciate your time, your energy, your low what's the word? Low key energy. I like your laid back energy. That's probably a better word for it. And you know, I've always appreciated watching your channel. I like your outdoor videos a lot too, by the way. And I know
That's in
everyone.
the works too. We're
What's
gonna
that?
be planning another camping trip here pretty soon.
Oh, good. Yeah, and I mean, I've been doing some videos where like I just walk around out in the wilderness and randomly talk about stuff. And I'm like, who would want to watch this? But then when I watch other people do it, I'm like, wow, that's great. It's like I'm
Yeah.
there, you know? So, okay. DNA Outpost says, Bob and Alex, pH flux, ooh, normal. I just got into the hobby this year. My pH stayed around 7.5 since it warmed up. It jumped to 8 to 8.2. Did you buffer your tank with some sort of substrate? Or is that out of the tap that you're talking about? Because it's normal for it to come out high and then swing low if you have no buffer in the water and it's like low TDS, no KH, no GH. But it's kind of weird to get hard all of a sudden. With
Happens to me all the time.
Right?
Man, especially on like bumpy roads. Good.
Yeah. Right? When you go over one of those bumps in the road where you drop afterwards like a roller coaster, your stomach comes into your throat. I like this Bob dude. Well, that's good, Mick. I like this Bob dude too. He can stay. I think we're gonna keep him, kids.
It's I don't know. For me, it's always fun to have someone on the live stream, like a co-host, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And if I could get Danny over like every Monday, I would absolutely have a co-host.
Oh yeah, I mean, people may not realize it, but like, it's actually when questions come trickling in, that's like perfect because and people are bantering, because then you can just like swoop one question out, talk, show them something in your tanks or something you're looking at online or something you saw. But like just talking for like an hour or two to a camera when you're actually alone in your house, you know, it's kind of an odd practice to engage in, really. So it is very nice to have someone to bounce stuff off of. And if you ever need that, I'm pretty bouncy. So probably because I'm hiding. My wife saw me come home with that pie last night, and I'm like, it's a joke. It's gonna be hilarious. Don't worry about it. And she's like, okay. And I was like, it is. And she's like, I don't believe you. And I was like, no, it's like this guy, he doesn't like pie and or he hasn't eat pie, hasn't had pie, and she's like, sure, whatever. Like, you don't need to hide from me that you're eating a pie. And I was like,
so something real quick for DNA Outpost. If you had like wood or something in there that was bringing your pH down and it's now lost its buffering capacity, that could cause you to, so like you had a piece of driftwood in there, you're throwing 8.5 pH water in there, driftwood's causing to be 7.5. Finally, it's lost all its tannins, its pH, its buffering ability, and now your water is climbing back up.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think the other thing that I would recommend for anybody who's having water trouble issues is, one, you can ask your utilities if you're on the municipal water. You can ask them for a printout of what's in there. And I think in most states, it's like required that they give you either one free one or one for $25 or whatever. Like you're entitled to like a printout of all that.
Yeah, they usually do like once a year.
Yeah,
just in general.
exactly. And you can get more depending on where you live, depending on other info. I'm sure in Europe you get one free every month without asking or something. But yeah, so
you might be surprised, because when I got mine from my last place, like my water source could come from 4 different areas at any time in the year. I could have like crazy water at any time.
Yeah, well, like, I mean, Seattle's like that too, in that we normally get ours from Lake Cochise, and then if that runs low, then we get it from Spada, which is where like Everett and Snohomish and most of you guys get your water up that way. But then Baker Lake and a few other lakes also feed into it. And then if they're out of that, then they start using river water that they can divert. So it's like every few years there's a big drought, and our TDS will hit like 150 at the end of summer for like a month or two, when it's normally 5 to 30. So it's worth checking. I mean, they assume that it doesn't matter to humans, but sure matters to your fish, you know? Like, there's no warning, like, hey, we're going to flush the pipes now. But the other thing you can do is you can take a bucket, put your water in there, test it right when it comes out of the tap, and then wait like a week. Don't put anything in the bucket, just a bucket of water, and test it and see if it's swinging, what the pH, TDS, like all that is. Because some people find that there's like actually something going on in their water, that it's like crashing because it's super soft. But I mean, TDS meters don't help a ton as far as telling you what's in it, but it might give you a hint, because they're only $15, as to, you know, if you've got some buffering capacity in there. Same, the KH and the GH test can help too, but there's so many other factors that can be in water. It's a bit of a mystery game, but I hope you figure it out. Let's see. So yeah, well, as I said, you're welcome anytime. I want to thank everybody for tuning in and joining us, putting up with me not having my Wheelo STEENFOTT that was going to be magical. It even had little sections where you were going to have to name a rainbow fish by picture. Like in my community tab, there's a picture of it. So I'm sorry to tease everybody with that. But I was going to ask you the names of some obscure and beautiful rainbow fish, like if it landed on them. Are you good with rainbow fish names, like all of them, Bob, or are you?
Oh, probably not all of them.
Right. Okay. Well, yeah, I guess all of them would be a tall order, but I mean, you know, quite a few, right?
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, I would hope so.
Yeah. I am so hot in this room, and I've got that pie was like a cool, a chilled chocolate pie, and it has melted down. So hold on, let me bring this into the other room real quick. And hello, everybody.
Hi.
Wow, we've got I'm live at the moment, but I just want to show the cheese platter. I won't show your faces. That's fancy. I'm excited. This is my good friend Mitch. Charcuterie. 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 All right, Bob. Well, it looks like I have a gathering in the other room. So
get at it.
I'm gonna call it a night, I suppose. But thank you again. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope you catch your limit, and I hope that your dogs and you have a thrilling evening. All right, man. Take it easy. And everybody watching, thank you so much for joining us. You know how I do this. Whoever's the guest gets the final words. So I wanted to thank you all for, I want to thank Kenny for the super chat, members for membering, watchers for watching, sharers for sharing, lurkers for lurking. Can't do it without you. But Bob, what are the last words? What's the word of the day?
Keep your sleeves dry and your dreams wet.
Ho, 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 ho.